Oh, adjusting my camera. Hey, there we go. Woo! Hello, everybody. All right. And sorry about the live earlier. The sound got all screwed up. Actually, is it on YouTube? Is the sound being okay right now? It was screwing up earlier when I was doing my live for the paid subscribers. And I tried to come back. It was a disaster twice, and I gave up because I only had 5 minutes left anyway, and it was like cutting everybody else off. So sorry about that. Let me get TikTok rolling. But let me know, like I said, how it sound, if it's at least, if the sound is okay this time, at least. Hang on here. All right. 1 second here, getting my TikTok set up. I know it takes like half a minute for you guys to arrive because the way, there it is. Hey guys, it always takes a while for it to actually bring me on with you, so to speak. Ooh, those are fun. Those are fun. A little late, but fun. All right. I think I'm ready to go live. I'm ready to go live. All right. Going live on TikTok. Hello, YouTube. 1 second here. There we go. Okay. Woo, man. My allergies are bothering me today. All right. We got TikTok coming momentarily. Come on, TikTokers. Where are you? Where are you? Anyway, hey, YouTubers. There are my TikTokers. Hey, guys. Welcome. Just starting the show now. So, hey, puppy. It still wants me to invite you as a guest, Poppy. This is the whole, every freaking time, only you. I don't know what you did to make TikTok love you. Every freaking show, it says, invite Poppy as a guest, as a live guest. It's like, okay. Hey, Big Hawk. Anyway, woo. I'm here. I'm here. I assume that, okay, so YouTubers can hear me and see me, I'm hoping, right? You're not talking like you can hear me here. Hopefully you are. You TikTokers, I know you can see me. Okay, you can. Good. Okay, you got me worried there for a second. Anyway, yeah, so earlier today, unfortunately, the YouTube show did not work. The sound got all screwed up. I tried coming back twice. It was a disaster, and there was only 5 minutes left until I had to go, so I said, screw it. So sorry. Anyway, welcome, everybody. I am John Aravosis. This is the Aravosis Report. We talk about the latest news from Ukraine and the American election. We're starting with the U.S. election, and I will tell you right now, there's no news. I mean, there's one or two little stories. There's no news from Ukraine today. But nonetheless, the chair has not changed. The view has changed, Christian, because I've rearranged stuff in my apartment. But my chair is in the same position it always is. And actually, especially on TikTok, you guys always have this view. You have sort of my thing there, my curtains, and maybe a little bit of stuff behind me. So anyway, welcome, guys. So yes, we're going to be talking about the U.S. election first. Then we'll talk about Ukraine. As I just said, there ain't a lot of Ukraine news today. I mean, there's almost no news from Ukraine today. So thank you, Nick, for subscribing. Or if somebody did a gift subscription, I appreciate that. Thank you, Max. Yep, the baleen has moved. The baleen is now on the other side. For TikTok, it's there. For YouTube, my baleen is now over here. I've got my cool Mali puppet there. For you guys on TikTok, the Mali puppet is there. We put my Indonesian for TikTok. That's my Indonesian shadow puppet. For YouTube, that's my Indonesian shadow puppet. Lots of fun stuff. Moved a lamp. Anyway, lots of fun things in the apartment. Maybe we'll do a tour later. And my plants finally looking much more homey, I think. Oop. There we go. The plant's looking more homey. I did take the statue down because the statue on the black pedestal is still not dry yet, I found out. So we're going to have to wait a while. Anyway, welcome, guys. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Martin. Thank you. Oh, that's right. Tara or Tari. Who else we got here that I might have missed? Jeremy, Max Trax. Okay, thank you guys for the gifts. So yeah, let's start talking about the prisoner exchange. You had to re-add me. That's a little weird, Terry. Not sure why. Who knows? TikTok, weird. Hey, Mark Starr. So yes, thank you guys. Let's get rolling here. Yeah. So basically today, big news day today. I am John Aravosis here in Washington, D.C. We're going to start talking about the U.S. election, and then we'll move over to Ukraine. As always, I very much appreciate your gifts. Thank you, Vicky, for the pride glasses. I very much appreciate your gifts and subscriptions because I do this full time. I've been reporting the news now for about 2.5 years here on TikTok and YouTube, and mostly Ukraine, but now I'm doing U.S. election coverage as well, which actually, my background is U.S. politics across the board. I'm in Washington, D.C., have been here for 40 years. Other than 2 years, I was in New York City working at the United Nations. My background is U.S. politics. My background is foreign policy. So I can help you with the election and with Ukraine. But yeah, please do keep the gifts coming, guys. It helps me out a lot. I appreciate it. Let's get rolling. So huge news today. Thank you, Ava. Huge news today with a massive prisoner exchange. Massive prisoner exchange. The biggest prisoner exchange between the U.S. and, or I should say, between the West and the Soviets. They still are the Soviets. The Russians since the Cold War. 16 Westerners were released, pretty much Western hostages, and they were in exchange for 8 Russian criminals that we had to return to the Russians, including an assassin who I think the Germans had, and the Germans released because we asked them to, but they had to give up a Russian assassin in exchange for, 16 and 8, exactly, in exchange for basically 16 Westerners who were all innocent. Big surprise. And some Russians who were innocent too. Russia, as you know, is a dictatorship. Thank you, Brian. Putin is a dictator. They throw people in jail for literally disagreeing with the government. It is that much of a dictatorship. It is not a democracy. It is not a modern country in that regard. And they throw people in jail. They've got a lot of dissidents who are literally in jail, guys. These guys get like 16 years in prison for criticizing the government. I mean, it's insane. And they think it's normal. And my favorite is how they think like we're the same way. Got news for you. Here, we criticize the government all the time. You don't go to jail. At least under Joe Biden, don't go to jail. And Donald Trump has not been able to jail us yet. But in any case, this was a huge deal. Evan Gershkovich, who's the Wall Street Journal reporter, held hostage by Russia, was released. Paul Whelan, another American businessman, former Marine, released. He was been held for like 6 years now. Gershkovich for maybe almost a year and a half. Vladimir Kara-Murza, who is a British-Russian binational dissident, was jailed by the Russians, again, simply for being critical of Putin. He was released. Thank you, Colin, for subscribing. Big deal. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Kelly, all for the gifts. Big deal. A lot of other people. That ballerina you asked about was released. Remember the woman from LA who was stupid enough to go to Russia last Christmas? She was released. That was good. I don't know whether that crazy American service member was released. I'm going to guess they included him in, but I didn't go. I was going through the list. I didn't go through all the list. Thank you, Big Hawk. So overall, it's a good thing. I will tell you guys, I did a video on TikTok. I will tell you what I've said before. Some of these people I'm not very sympathetic for. The Wall Street Journal reporter knew what he was doing. He went to Russia knowing that the Russians grab American hostages, and he went anyway. He also went knowing that he is Russian American. His family immigrated from Russia, right? The Russians hate Russian Americans. They think they're traitors because they left, right? He knew what he was walking into. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Adventures. Thank you, Big Hawk. He knew what he was walking into, and he went anyway. It was stupid of him. The Wall Street Journal sent their reporter to a country that was taking American hostages. That was stupid of them. They accepted the risk, and frankly, we shouldn't be helping people who go to Russia nowadays. If you go to Russia nowadays, and I said this before, if you go to Russia nowadays, unless you are an American official, if you work for the U.S. government, military, spy, diplomat, then I'm fine. But if you go to Russia and you are literally a private citizen going for fun, like these idiots have gone, because you're chasing a girlfriend like that idiot soldier did, because you want to go see your family like the idiot Radio Free Europe lady did, who was American, or she was Russian and another Western national, and like the idiot went to Russia a few months ago and they grabbed her. Big surprise. Or like that idiot ballerina from Los Angeles who went last Christmas. Like they weren't going to grab her. They grabbed her. Big surprise, right? At this point, if you go to Russia, you are on your own. But of course, that's not what's going to happen. We're going to be forced to bail these guys out again. But this Wall Street Journal thing, it just, again, I'm glad for him and his family, but he's an idiot. He knew what was happening. He caused this to happen. The Wall Street Journal caused this to happen. And I am kind of sick and tired of having to tie ourselves in knots as a nation and turn over Russian super criminals. We got the Germans to turn over an assassin to the Russians because these idiots went to Russia and got kidnapped when they knew damn well what they were getting into. No, anyway, I know a lot of you agree with me. It just pisses me off. It just pisses me off. American journalists, no, Americans do not use journalists as spies. We don't. We simply do not. No, journalists would never accept that. Newspapers would never accept that. The Wall Street Journal would never. And the American government, I don't think, would ever do that because it would be a huge scandal. In any case, excellent question by Trash Hunter. Why is it happening right now? No, that's a great, because I was going to get into that. Well, here's the thing, okay? A lot of people are saying, and I would agree, that Putin thinks Trump isn't going to be president anymore. Putin owns Donald Trump. I mean, and again, I don't need to explain this to all of you. Anybody who doesn't get it, you're just not paying attention, okay? Thank you, Amy. Appreciate that. Putin owns Donald Trump. Donald Trump has literally been working for Vladimir Putin for years now. We know it. Whether Putin has, got compromising information on him, whether Putin bribed him, whether Trump wants to be bribed, meaning whether Trump wants a new hotel in Moscow and thinks he'll get the hotel in Moscow by sucking up to Putin, whatever it is, Donald Trump has been working for Vladimir Putin for years now. We all know it. We were all horrified. Google the press conference that Trump had after his summit with Putin in 2018 in Helsinki, Finland. We still don't know what happened in that summit. Donald Trump wouldn't let them take notes. The American officials. Only the translator was allowed, and she was sworn to secrecy. We literally don't know what the hell Trump agreed or did with Vladimir Putin in private. What we do know is when Trump came to the podium afterwards, he attacked the U.S., he attacked the U.S. intelligence agencies, he attacked his own, he's president already. His people were running our intelligence agencies. Trump attacked them and accused the U.S. of lying about Russia getting involved, attacking our election, attacking our country. He said, I see no reason. They said, well, you actually believe Vladimir Putin, or do you believe your own government agencies telling you, your defense officials, your intelligence, telling you he attacked the U.S., he's been trying to subvert our elections? And Trump goes, I see no reason to not believe Vladimir Putin. And literally all of us were going, oh my God. Okay. So anyway, the point here is Trump works for Vladimir Putin. Why wouldn't Putin just wait for Trump to come to power, right? Now, J.D. Vance, Trump's vice president, the one who thinks women in violent relationships should stay in violent relationships, he's crazy, but he's weird. J.D. Vance said today, Biden was able to get the deal because Putin is so afraid of Donald Trump that he wanted to get rid of the hostages before Trump came. I got news for you. Vladimir Putin is about afraid of Donald Trump as I am of my dog, because both of them are in the same position. They lick me. They lick you. You give them food and they lick you, and they give you love that is unconditional love. Vladimir Putin is not afraid of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is Vladimir Putin's puppy. And David Frum had written this today, and I think he's right. The only reason Vladimir Putin would agree to this now a couple months before the election is because he thinks Donald Trump's going to lose. And he thinks things could be even worse under Kamala Harris. And Putin wanted to get his master spy back and his master assassin, among others. Thank you, Super Hornet. Thank you, Shane. Again, on its face, guys, we know this. Putin's not afraid of Trump. I mean, come on, right? Putin doesn't believe that Trump. what is Trump going to do? Trump's going to give him more American secrets. Putin's not afraid of Trump. The only reason he would do this is because he thinks Trump is now no longer going to be president. He thinks Kamala Harris is going to win, and he's freaked out. He's terrified of Kamala Harris. So very interesting. Very interesting. I don't even know. Did I do a JD Vance voice? I don't even remember. Amanda says she liked my JD Vance voice. Don't remember. So listen to this. Here's what Trump tweeted today. Okay. So when are they going to release the details of the prisoner swap with Russia? The Republicans are livid because this makes them look bad. Joe Biden on the world stage accomplishing great things, right? They're livid. So when are they going to release the details of the prisoner swap with Russia? How many people do we get versus them? They released that like within minutes. We all know now how many. We actually got twice as many as they got. They got 8. We got 16. So that's how many, Donald. How many people did we get? Twice as many as they got. The Trump said in the Post, going on to complain that we never make good deals, and to claim that as president, he got back many hostages and gave the opposing country nothing. Yeah, let's talk about the hostage Donald Trump got. His name was Otto Warmbier. Help me out, guys. What was the exact? I want to make sure I get his name correct because obviously the poor kid died. He was a university student, approximately 19 years old, goes on an exchange or a trip to North Korea. The North Koreans, Warmbler, thank you, Otto Warmbler. The North Koreans arrest him. It looks like he was trying to like take a poster that was in the hallway, like a propaganda poster. Honestly, it's the kind of thing all of us have done. I was in East Germany and I took a little flag that was in my hotel because it was an East German flag. I mean, literally, I think of that story when I think of Otto Warmbler, right? And I was in East Germany when it was terrifying East Germany, communist dictatorship. He tries to take a poster. They catch him. They throw him in prison. And they end up killing him in prison. He was literally not just brain damaged. He was brain dead, where they put you on a respirator, but you're dead. He was dead. The time Donald Trump got this poor kid out, he was already dead. So yeah, Donald Trump also got people released from bad countries. A young boy of 19 years age who died. Trump literally got, and we didn't even know until the dead body was coming out. We thought he was like unconscious. He's on a hospital bed. And we're like, this is weird. So Trump didn't even know. The North Koreans didn't even, either Trump didn't know or he lied. He didn't tell us, right? Either he had no idea that the North Koreans killed the kid and were giving him a dead body, or Trump knew and lied to us. And frankly, knowing Donald Trump, he probably lied to us. So yeah, those are the great deals Donald Trump makes. He gets back hostages that are dead. Joe Biden gets back hostages that are alive. So, but I do love that. I do love that Trump is freaking out about this, which makes sense. I mean, it does look bad, right? It's a big coup. Again, I'm pissed that these guys were in that. No, some of these guys are not to blame. I mean, some of them were in Russia back before we knew they were going to get grabbed. Some of them are Russian dissidents. So of course they're in Russia. They're Russian citizens speaking out in defense of democracy against a dictatorship. I have sympathy for them. Good for them, right? Vladimir Kara-Murza, good for him, right? Standing up to the Russian government. There's also a number of people the Russians were released that were basically hostages working for Alexei Navalny. Alexei Navalny is the opposition leader that Putin killed recently. They were working for, what's his name? The Russian dissident that Putin killed back 2011 or so. Help me out, guys. What's his name? Somebody will know. The Russian dissident who Putin killed, like the opposition leader. Around 2011, remember he was walking along the river by the Kremlin and they walked up and killed him. Like 3 guys just killed him. His staff, they also jailed because of course, God forbid you work for an organization that's pro-democracy, right? Not Navalny. Nope. This is 10 years ago. Nemtsov. Thank you. Boris Nemtsov. There you go. Thank you guys. A number of you knew that. That was very good. So yeah, in any case, delegates, let's talk about Kamala Harris. So thank you, Alan. Alan gifted a gift membership on YouTube that went to Patty Willis. Patty, that means for the next month, you get a free membership to, it gives a couple things. It gives you access to some emojis and stuff, which is fun. Your name changes green, so I know you're a supporter. And most importantly, you get to access some new shows that I'm doing during the day and on the weekend for paid subscribers only. Basically, as a thank you, I'm doing this show every night anyway. This is the show I always do, Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern time, US. But I'm also doing a show Saturday morning, 11 a.m. just for the paid subscribers. And I'm doing a lot of shows, maybe not every day, but I'm trying to do Monday to Friday most days, do a paid show for the paid subscribers in the late morning about the election, where we just talk about the election. Keep in mind, by the way, I almost forgot to tell you, Saturday is the next special show for the paid subscribers, Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And Sunday, I'm doing it for the $25 and up subscribers. There's only a small group of you. It's over on YouTube and Discord. But I had to cancel last week or postpone it because my sister was in town. But we are going to be doing Sunday with the paid subscribers who are in the or $24.99 and up category, just to remember any of you guys. All right, let's keep going here. The delegates have begun voting today. As of 9 a.m. this morning, the delegates have begun voting for Kamala Harris. She is the only candidate who applied and met the requirements. You had to get a certain number of signatures and stuff. So she's literally the only candidate who's there. That's it. It's Kamala Harris. They're voting between now and Monday. I don't know why it's going through Monday, but for some reason it's going through Monday. Vicky, that is totally okay. If anybody can maybe give Vicky at least 1 month gift membership on TikTok, that might be nice. She says she's low income or fixed income and can't afford to do that, which I totally, and Vicky's done a lot of gifts too. I remember you doing that, Vicky, which please don't put yourself out. I mean, I need the support, but I'm not dying here. So, please don't put yourself out. Thank you, Addie New. I appreciate that. Moto, you just like to push it. keep it up and you're going to have another time. Oh, I guess you got a timeout anyway. You got a 1 minute timeout. You're going to get a longer timeout if you keep it up. Yeah, but I know that, Vicky, but don't worry. I mean, okay, first of all, that's very sweet of you, but I don't want people putting themselves out to support me. That's the thing. If you're on fixed income, don't do it. Please, seriously. I mean, I love it. It's sweet of you, but I feel bad. So, but then you just purchased one. You didn't just purchase one, did you? Oh, I hope somebody did that for you. Okay, I'm hoping somebody did the gift certificate, the gift membership for Vicky. Did somebody do it? Blue did it? Okay, Blue Ariel did it. Thank you, Blue. Very sweet of you. Okay, thank you. That was very sweet. Okay, good. I thought Vicky did it. I was like, what are you doing? Anyway, thank you, Blue. I appreciate that. So that gets you it for a month at least. And next month, ask us again and we'll get somebody else to do it. Thank you, guys. Oh, 2 people. Thank you, guys. Oh, I didn't think of that. You're right. If somebody else does it, actually, quick question here on TikTok. Thank you, Kronos. Hey, Cindy, if somebody else gives you a gift, can they keep adding more months to? Like Elizabeth says she did. So does that actually give her several months? Do we know? I don't know. Now, I know TikTok and YouTube doesn't yet, but TikTok, you actually can give gifts to specific people now, which is really cool, which is really nice. So we've had people actually say, and it's people have been really nice about it, but I don't know if you can do multiple. Misha says he thinks it does. I always feel bad criticizing Russia when you're here, Misha, but I'm really not a fan. You know that. I've met a lot of nice Russians. I mean, a lot of nice Russians when I was there both times. I was there in the Soviet Union in 84 and then Kamchatka in 93 or so with Marion H, who pops in occasionally. Love the Russians I met. Lovely people. Had a lot of funny stories with Russians, but God, your government pisses me off. So anyway, but I always feel a little bit bad when I see you. I'm like, all right, don't be offended, Misha. But anyway, James, Randy, Martin, Kamchatka. Well, exactly. I said Kamchatka. Everybody knows Kamchatka because of Risk, So it's kind of funny. Anyway, yeah, well, the thing is, when I went to Russia in 1993, the Russian Far East, Kamchatka, totally safe back then. We had 10 years of, other than the fact that like there was a big mafia taking over in Russia, it was safe in the sense of being a foreigner. It wasn't dangerous. Again, lovely people. I mean, actually, I'll tell you a quick story about that, just because since we were talking about me criticizing Russia. When I went in 1984 to the Soviet Union, went to Moscow and Leningrad. St. Petersburg was called Leningrad at the time, and totally ridiculously safe. Because and I'm trying to remember, but I just remember back in that era, the Russians wouldn't dare touch us. They were terrified because back then it was about, the great Soviet Union. And if they were like kidnapping Americans or killing Americans or robbing us or whatever, it would make them look bad. They wanted to say, oh no, capitalism bad. We are wonderful. So it was ridiculously safe going to the Soviet Union back then. I will tell you the one funny story I was going to tell you guys, and I've told this story before, but it's worth telling again. Thank you, Elizabeth. I go to the Russian Far East with my friend Marion on a business trip. We were with an Alaskan business delegation because, yes, you can see Russia from Alaska, but you got to get a lot closer than Sarah Palin's, front yard. But Russia is very close. And I was part of an Alaskan business delegation. I was heading the delegation because I was working for the U.S. Senator from Alaska. We went to Petropavlovsk, the capital of Kamchatka. It's in the Russian Far East on the Pacific, Siberia. And we were very cool. I was the top American official. I was the most senior U.S. official, they told me, to visit Petropavlovsk since the Russian Revolution of 1917. Because people don't go that often. I was the most senior American to visit it. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool and funky. Well, so I go there. Hold on. Alexa, raise the temperature 1 degree. Sorry, it's getting a little cold here. We flew via Alaska. So Washington, D.C. via Alaska and then down. And we're there. And Marion, who may not be with us right now, but Marion joins us later at night. Marion is super fluent in Russian because she was working for Kuder Brothers at the time. Anybody who knows, they're possibly the top international law firm in the world. Kuder, she was doing Russian law, Soviet law, and knew Russian. Marion literally negotiated contracts in Russian, which I was like, oh my God. And the Russian Constitution, all the Russian law she would read. I mean, scared, like I'm very fluent in French. She scared me how much she knew Russian. So Marion was there translating. And we're in Kamchatka. And we're staying in a little hotel. And, nothing special. The hotel was okay, but obviously it's a poor region, very sweet people, but a poor region. Some guy enters the hotel, and there was a guard at the hotel, at least because Americans were staying there. I don't know if the guard was normally there, but the Americans were there, right? They had to be safe. And he's talking to the guard, and they won't let him in. And Marion realizes that, something's going on with the Russian guy trying to get in, and we happen to be at the front door. So she listens in, and she goes, "Oh my God." And thank God they kept the guy. She goes, "Oh my God." So she intervenes, and she starts talking with the guard, our security guard, and this guy. Well, this guy, this Russian citizen from Kamchatka, again, blue collar, we say blue collar in English, meaning working class guy. Okay, a working class guy. And he comes to the door, and he's holding a wallet. And he says, 6 months ago, there were some Americans visiting Kamchatka. And it was in the local paper because it's a big deal. Back then, especially, the city had just opened up, by the way, too. It was a closed city, meaning foreigners weren't allowed to go there because of the military bases and all of this, right? The naval bases. It had just opened up, and he knew Americans were there because he read the local paper, and he looks down on the street 6 months before and finds a wallet, and he opens it up, and there's an American driver's license and like $100 or something. Now, keep in mind, $100 to a Russian in 1993 living in Kamchatka. I'm going to guess maybe 1 month. I'm going to guess 1 month's salary. Maybe it was a little more. It wasn't much. No, what I mean is it was a huge amount of money for these guys. Huge amount of money. I'm forgetting, Misha, how much, even today, how much that would be. But this is also in Kamchatka. So like very poor, I say poor, but meaning just very blue collar industrial city, right? Huge amount of money. He read in the paper that there was an American delegation in town, and he wanted to return the wallet because he figured we would be able to return it for him since we were American too. The money was still there, guys. And I remember Marion, I wish she was here right now. I remember Marion just going, "Oh my God." And she's telling me the story. And I was like, oh my God. Insane. He kept the wallet waiting for some Americans to come in the future. And again, $100 was really a lot of money. He didn't touch the money. So, the Russians can, and we did, I forgot. I know when we came back, we mailed it to the person. Marion must have been the one who did it because I don't remember the process of how we did it, or she kept the money. Marion, we want to know, did you keep the money? No, Marion, I know mailed it back, but I'm curious for sort of her story on when she got back because I don't remember asking her about it. But that's the Russians. Their government is horrific. They're a dictatorship. And by the way, they elect really bad governments too, I got to say. So I'm not terribly happy with the Russian people because I do worry that they lean a little authoritarian. Then again, not like Americans don't either lately. But I had a lot of experiences just like that were just kind of ridiculously sweet, endearing experiences. Irma Bombeck did a book about going to Russia. Oh my God. Okay, that one I'm going to write this down, but you need to remind me of that one on Discord, if you will. I would love to read that. She's an American comedy writer or from old times. Alexa, hold on, I'm going to raise my temperature.
From health.com. But it only takes 10 to 15 minutes.
Alexa, quiet. She's talking to me. Yeah, in any case, we had so much, we met some soldiers who were really neat, who did some trades with us, Russian Navy guys. You meet a lot. Actually, the other thing I remember was going and they put on, this was kind of adorable. The town decided to hold a variety show for us because we were the Americans visiting. It was like going to Sicily where people still are like Americans. The Sicilians love Americans. Again, we did save, or Normandy. We saved them in World War II and they still love us. Just like Normandy, they love us still. And these guys were so excited we were the Americans visiting that they threw us a variety show. This was 1993. So it was 2 years after the Soviet Union ended. The city had just opened up. So there were only recent Americans going there. Recently were Americans, because otherwise Americans weren't allowed because it was a secret city. And they held a variety show for us, which was kind of adorable. And it was really cute. It was like little girls dancing ballet, singing. It was adorable. Well, I had to get up and give a speech. And I was like, no one told me I had to give a speech. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Trilitic. So I get on stage and I think I just told them what I was telling you. I may have even told them about the guy with the wallet because I was so impressed. Marion translated because I was just so impressed at the people we met. So I told them, and Marion said, and I think we started taking questions. And somebody asked, what do you think of our city? And I thought this was the word for wonderful. Marion now tells me it isn't, but I remember, I'd studied Russian for a year. My Russian is not great. If I get drunk, it's better. And we did get drunk there. But I remember, and Misha, you tell me again what this means in Russian. The word I thought was wonderful was "sudovolstviem." And Marion said it means something else right now. Like it doesn't quite mean wonderful, but I said "sudovolstviem." Again, I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly, but when I said it, they laughed because I was saying it was wonderful. I loved it. All right, so with pleasure, I'd love to. Maybe like volentieri, maybe in Italian. Maybe it's like volentieri, maybe like willingly. I love it. Yeah. Well, again, I sort of knew it as like with pleasure or something like that, right? They started laughing. And literally the whole audience started laughing. And I looked at Marion and I was like, okay, what did I say? Because I figured I'm going to use a little Russian with them. And I said, okay, what did I say? She goes, no. She goes, blah, 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 blah. Somebody in the audience responds. And I said, like, what did I say? And she says, no, that's not it. They're laughing because they think their city is ugly. And they're laughing that you're saying you like it. They think it's kind of funny that you're saying you like it. And I said, you're kidding. So then I gave like a 2-minute, I was like, no. And I think I may have even told them at that point about the guy with the wallet. I was like, are you kidding? I said, we've met the nicest people here. And I think I did tell them about that guy. And I said, in America, there's a good chance they would have taken the money, but they certainly wouldn't have waited 6 months and then sought you out because you're a German visiting and they found a German wallet. There's no way. So it was very sweet. They loved us. I mean, and I love that stuff. I love the people diplomacy and everything else. But anyway, the Russians were really sweet. It was really cute. Anyway, so it was very sweet. All right, a little more news here on the U.S. elections. So yeah, the delegates started voting today for Kamala Harris. The votes go through Monday. I don't know why they're doing it that long. Like, why does it take 5 days? But that's how they're doing it. Whatever. She will obviously be the candidate. There is no other candidate at this point. So she's going to be the candidate. It'll go through 6 o'clock Monday evening, 6 o'clock Eastern, I'm assuming. This was funny. The Trump campaign, and we're going to find out Monday, we will find out if she's the nominee. Of course she is. And we will also find out who her vice president is. She has to pick it by Monday as well, legally, because of the Ohio ballot and all this kind of stuff. Kamala Harris raised $138 million in July. Oh, wait a minute. No. Sorry. Wrong. Trump campaign announced today that they raised $138.7 million in July. Thank you, Ellie, for subscribing. So the 4 weeks of July, the Trump campaign raised $139 million, and they were bragging about it. Guess how much Kamala Harris raised in 1 week? $200 million. Trump raised $139 million. She raised, in 4 weeks, she raised $200 million in 1 week. So kind of funny. I mean, it also shows you just how well she did this sort of first week after Biden announced, or these first 2 weeks now. We could have that, like that good, how well she did. Now, when did Biden announce he was stepping down? It wasn't last weekend, was it? Was it a week and a half now? It feels like it was forever ago. Was it a week and a half? I really am forgetting already. What was the, does anybody remember 2 weeks ago? So it would be a week and a half now, right? Because it was Saturday, it was Saturday that Biden announced it, right? No, it was Saturday. It wasn't Sunday. I think it was, was it Sunday? It was Sunday. Trump's shooting was Saturday. So Sunday. So it's even less. It's like 3 days less, maybe 10 days ago, right? 11 days ago. Yeah. 11 days ago. Okay. Wild. And you're from Yakutsk. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I didn't know you're from Yakutsk. So you're what I remember of Yakutsk as being way out there in Siberia too, if I'm recalling correctly. A little bit more here. Polls. So the latest polls, excellent for Kamala Harris. This is really interesting. So I think I talked about this yesterday, but it's worth raising again. Typically, when a party holds their convention. The convention is when the whole party gets together. Thank you, Family Lavery. Please keep the gifts coming, guys. I appreciate it. When the party gets together and they nominate their president and they nominate their vice president, and it's 4 days of raw speeches. We're crazy, like love us, right? Democrats and Republicans do the same thing. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Ellie, for the gifts. Typically, they get a bump in the polls, meaning the polls go up. So typically, the candidate that does this goes up in the polls. We were checking yesterday on Alexa. The average bump in the polls from a party convention is like 6%, we were told by Alexa. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Sandria. Trump got nothing. I mean, it's kind of crazy. He got nothing, which is, again, crazy. Typically, it's 6%. Kamala Harris has gotten a bump in the polls from Biden simply stepping down and she becoming the presumptive nominee. They haven't had the convention yet. The Democratic convention isn't for 3 weeks. Almost 3 weeks. It's not until August 18th. So almost 3 weeks from now. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Maddie. Kind of crazy. I mean, kind of crazy. Actually, we'll talk about that in a second, Syndicate. That's interesting. So anyway, the polls. A poll this week showed the race to be pretty much tied between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. A national Reuters Ipsos survey showed Harris slightly ahead nationally. The problem is, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Jel and Christian. The problem is, in America, you got to be careful of looking at national polls because we do not pick our president based on the national vote. It's crazy. I've explained this before, but I'm going to keep explaining it because we do get new people every day. In the U.S., each state is worth a certain number of points, a certain number of electoral votes, we call it, but it's basically considered points. Bigger states, in terms of population, more points. Smaller states might be as few as 3. We keep saying this. How many is California again, guys? I keep forgetting. Was it 39, 40? Anybody remember off? I can ask Alexa. Alexa, how many electoral votes does California have in 2024?
This year, California has 54 electoral
54.
votes.
Wow. Okay, 54. The smallest states like Alaska have 3. At least Alaska had 3. I don't think they're up to 4 yet. I think they still have 3. So the smallest states have 3. The biggest states like California has 54. You can imagine winning California is more important than Alaska, but you have to reach 270 points. The one and only one can reach 270 points. When you reach 270 points or more, you win. You become president. Okay. Yeah. Rookinator says California 54, Texas 40 points, Florida 30 points. Electoral votes, but I'll call them points. Oh, Cheryl sent subs. Thank you, Cheryl. Very sweet of you. So you've got to win a certain number of states. So when you see that the national poll says one person's ahead or the other, it doesn't matter. It matters in a general sense. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Jetta. Because it gives you a general sense of the mood in the country. The polls showed Hillary Clinton ahead of Donald Trump. In fact, and people say the polls were wrong. They weren't wrong. The polls showed Hillary Clinton winning, and she did. She won by 3 million votes, which was a lot of votes. 3 million. And I think and how many percentage points? I don't know if anybody has it in front of them. She won by at least a couple percentage points. How much was it, guys? Does anybody have it in front of them? I can look here. Hold on. 2016. Election. Hang on. One of you is going to remember. It's pulling up. Okay, pulling up 1956. Not the one I'm looking for. It was 3 million votes, but I want to see how many points she won by. She won by 2.1%. Trump had 46.1%. She had 48.2%. But that's still pretty good. Hillary Clinton won by 2%. She lost. Donald Trump became president because he won the right states. She beat him by 2 million votes. He still won. 20 years before, Al Gore, the Democrat, Bill Clinton's vice president, won the election by 500,000 votes. He lost to George Bush. George Bush had the right states. I will say this. If 2 Republican presidential candidates lost within a 20-year period after winning the popular vote, there would be riots in this country and we would no longer have this crazy system. It happens to Democrats and they go, thank you, Bjorn. In any case, so you got to win the right states. So whenever anybody tells you that the national poll shows one person ahead or the other, that's good, but it doesn't tell you who's going to win. You got to look at the states. So The polling looking at the states, what is very interesting here is this is a Republican polling firm, Public Opinion Strategies, and it shows them tied in all the key states, and like in 5 of the key states. In other words, the key states that both Trump and Harris will need. What is interesting is typically a Republican firm, their poll is going to be a little more Republican. A Democratic firm, their poll is going to be a little more Democratic. It's going to show Democrats doing a little better. So this is a Republican poll, which is really interesting. It shows, now, this is all I believe within the margin of error, because pretty much it shows them tied. Trump is ahead in Arizona and Nevada. Harris is ahead in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. They're tied in Michigan. But because of the margin of error, it's pretty much a tie across the board. Joe Biden was not tying Donald Trump. Joe Biden was behind. Joe Biden was severely behind in a lot of the swing states. The same polls with many of the same voters is showing now that it's a tie. Great news. I believe it's real, though. I believe it's real. Because look, Kamala Harris has gotten a bump from being the nominee, so to speak. People still don't know who she is. I mean, I don't know who she is, to be honest. She ran 4 years ago. I knew her positions 4 or maybe 5 years ago. I don't know her positions now. Because the way it works is, and in any government is like this, she has to support the president. She can't be Joe Biden's vice president and going, well, I disagree with him about Israel, right? I disagree with him about Ukraine. I think we should be spending more on education than Biden wants. She can't say that because she's the same political party. She works for him. So when somebody's vice president, they pretty much go away and they're not permitted to give their own opinions. They have to speak on behalf of the president. So for the last 4 years, Kamala Harris has not been telling us her positions. She's been defending Biden's positions. I literally don't remember her positions anymore, to be honest. And therefore, nobody else does either. She needs to basically reestablish herself. She needs to sell herself again to the American people. And when she does sell herself to the American people, will they like her positions? Will they dislike her positions? I don't know. It's a very perilous time for her, but also a time of great opportunity because I think the voters don't know her. So they're going to get to know her. And they've heard, Republicans say she's got a bad laugh. Let's see when they see her. I happen to think personally, I liked her last time. I thought she wasn't perfect when she ran for president in 2000 because she would kind of screw up. She would give answers that she kind of screwed up the answer and she'd get nervous and she'd get defensive. And literally when you're running for president or running for Congress, you have to be unflappable. You can't get flustered. You can't get asked a question. Go, well, and she did that. She did it at least 2 times that I remember. One on immigration, and I forget the other one might have been on Medicare for all or a healthcare program. And she just got confused. Not confused. She got like her tongue tied. Bad. Donald Trump. Now Donald Trump's a horrific human being, but Trump doesn't do that. Trump goes, well, let me tell you, right? And he lies and spins a yarn. But Trump doesn't go, well. You've got to be sort of aggressively in control of the conversation when you're running for president. People need to see you be tough and firm. So sometimes she fell short on that, but otherwise she's a very good speaker. She was flustered. Now I hope and think she's more confident now. Thank you, Typhoon. She's a very good speaker. She's incredibly, she's a lawyer. She's a prosecutor. And this is the thing too. The Republicans, MAGA people try to say she's not smart. She's dumb. Well, okay, good try, but she's like literally a lawyer who was a prosecutor and went to the University of California. The lady ain't dumb. I got news for you. You couldn't get into law school because you got to have some brains. Even to get into the worst law school, you got to be pretty damn smart. You got to have some brains. And she didn't go to the worst law school. She went to University of California. Smart lady. And it's clear when you talk to her. Look at her. Again, I don't know. I don't know if somebody who's dumb can tell, but I would even think dumb people, I don't mean to be rude and say the word dumb, but you know what I mean? Even if you're not very intelligent, I think you can tell when you see intelligent people talk, right? And if you are intelligent, you can really tell when you hear intelligent people talk. She's really intelligent, clearly. In any case, so they're trying to call her stupid. She's very pretty, which is not bad for politics, right? Men being handsome, women being pretty, not bad. You don't want a woman to be so pretty that there's something like so they think you're an airhead because women have to deal with that kind of prejudice in America. But she's very pretty. She's very businesslike. And I've said this before. She looks like a businessman or a business woman or whatever word you want to use, a businesswoman, right? But a business person. She looks like a corporate CEO. She wears that suit and it's a power suit. Americans like that. They want a president who frankly looks like a business person. They do. She fits all, and she's nice. I think her laugh makes her endearing. Her laugh makes her human. Donald Trump, to be honest, guys, we've been watching Donald Trump for 8 years. When have you ever seen Donald Trump laugh? I mean, really, when have you seen Donald Trump laugh? When have you seen Donald Trump hug his wife in a loving way? You haven't. When have you seen the Trump family at all embrace each other in a loving way? I don't mean Melania doing her, there's literally a video of her going with Trump, and she turns around and goes, you don't see that with the Trump family. You don't see it. With Kamala, you do. I think people like that. There is a human side to her, and it's not weak. It's strong. Again, she's pretty. She's businesslike. She's smart. And there's a humanity to her. I like her when I see her speak. Like, I'd like to have dinner with her. I think she'd be very interesting. I think she'd actually be fun for dinner, right? George Bush, I thought would be fun. The father and the son. The father, fun for an intellectual reason. The son, I'm sure, just gets drunk. Well, maybe not anymore. He's an alcoholic, I guess. But the son would get drunk with you, so to speak, and be a lot of fun. The second President Bush we had. Not saying he was a good man, whatever, but he was good friends with Ellen DeGeneres, actually. He clearly is a fun guy. Donald Trump, not a fun guy, right? His voters liked him, but that's the cult problem, In any case, let's move on here. What else we got here? Beep, 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 beep. Oh, so the latest attack. So the Trump people yesterday, Trump said that Kamala Harris wasn't black enough. She's just pretending to be black. I didn't even know she was black, Trump said. Yeah, sure. That's why the Trump campaign, and this was great, in 2014, the Trump campaign, I think I said this last night, came out and in 2020, actually, in order to defend Donald Trump against attacks of racism, because he is a racist. And I mean, he's been sued for racism. He's a racist. We know he is. And especially doesn't like black women. But in order to defend Trump and say he wasn't a racist, the Trump campaign said in 2020, referring back to around 2014, how could Donald Trump be a racist? He contributed twice to a black woman. He gave money to Kamala Harris's attorney general race twice. One was 2016 and one might have been 2012, something like that. And he gave to a black woman because he was okay with black people. Oh, so you mean Trump lied yesterday when he said he just found out that Kamala Harris was black because she always said he was Asian, because the Trump campaign 4 years ago said back in 2012, Donald Trump knew she was a black woman and he gave money to her even though he knew she was a black woman. So which was it? Did Donald Trump know 12 years ago that Kamala Harris was black? Or did Donald Trump just find out the other day like he claimed yesterday? Donald Trump is a pathological liar. But it's funny because people found this interview and it blew up in his face. Again, he's a pathological liar. We know that. But now, today, J.D. Vance is claiming today, Donald Trump's little vice president, the one who said that women should remain in violent relationships. And it's good for the kids, for women to, it's good for the women, and it's good for the kids to remain in quote unquote violent relationships. Vance said today, she's not even American. She was born in Canada. She was born in Canada, he's claiming. Thank you, Annie. Guys, they hate women. They hate black people. They're racist. They're sexist. This is what they did to Barack Obama. This is what they're doing to Kamala Harris. They are literally trying to, they are so, and this is part of the desperation of what Trump is doing. Trump did not do well. Trump got shot. Well, he got shot at. Somebody tried to kill him, and his polls did not go up. Donald Trump's polls should have gone up after he was shot at, right? I mean, let's face it. I'm not going to vote for the guy because he got shot at, but no American is going to say, well, someone tried to kill Trump. I like Trump even less. No one's going to say that. That's crazy. People are either going to say, like me, it's not going to change my vote, or some people I think would say, I kind of feel sorry for the guy. I was in the middle, right? Blah, blah, blah. Didn't happen. Thank you, George. Thank you, Boomer. Thank you, George, again. It didn't happen, right? He didn't get more votes. Then they had the convention. He was supposed to get a 6% increase on average, jump in the polls. He didn't. He got nothing. Trump is desperate. They are throwing everything they can at Kamala Harris, and now they know the birther thing. It didn't work, but it worked in the sense that it tied Obama up for months. Obama kept having to respond and release his birth certificate and this kind of crap, right? They had to keep doing this. And that's what the Republicans are now trying to do to Kamala Harris. They're trying to use, and they did this to Hillary too. They particularly like to go after women on the sexist thing. They particularly like to go after blacks on the black thing, the racist thing. And they're trying to now go after her and literally claim she's Canadian. And my favorite thing though is yesterday, Trump claimed she was really Indian. Her father wasn't black. Her father was a Jamaican. He was 100% Jamaican, by the way. People loved it. The other thing the Trumpers say is in the comments, he was only half Jamaican. No, he wasn't. He was 100% Jamaican. You're literally Google it. You're crazy. He was 100% Jamaican. Also, my favorite today was people in the comments on TikTok, not you guys, but on the Trumpers on my TikTok account. He didn't look black. I got news for you. Google Kamala Harris's father. The dude was black. I mean, there ain't no question. As a white man, let me tell you, the dude was black. The dude was not white. In any case, but now the Trump campaign has switched from yesterday she was Indian to today she's Canadian. Now, of course, you can be Canadian and Indian. I don't want to freak any Republicans out there. But if I'm going to blow your mind here, you actually can be Canadian and Indian. It's possible to be both, right? But nonetheless, the Trump people have now changed from, it doesn't matter, but it does matter because they're trying to birther her. They're trying to use racism and sexism to disqualify her from the presidency. And I think it is important for us to point it out, important to say that they are racist and they are sexist. They do hate women. They do hate blacks. And this is who they are. This is the kind of angry, mean, weird people that they are, intolerant people. But it's also funny because literally day to day, they can't even decide. Yesterday, she was Indian and today she's Canadian. And it's like, okay, which one is she? Can you decide? Right? Anyway, thank you, Marsha, for the gift. What else we got here? Thank you, Marsha. Beep, 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 beep. Actually, there was an interesting op-ed today by New Hampshire, Republicans governor Chris Sununu did an op-ed, an opinion piece in the New York Times. Thank you, Ruben. Did an opinion piece in the New York Times. Thank you, Luke. Saying that basically all of the Republican attacks on Kamala Harris, she's unhinged, she's whatever, she laughs funny. He thinks it's going to actually hurt them. And Chris Sununu is a very conservative Republican, which means in principle, Trumpers will hate him because he's a real Republican. What he said was basically Trump voters are already voting for Trump. They're the only ones that like it when Republicans make fun of her for being a woman or make fun of her for being black or make fun of her for her laugh, which is also making fun of her for being a woman. The base likes it, but the MAGA base is already voting for Trump. Independents, who are the voters Trump needs in the middle, do not like that kind of stuff at all. And it hurts the Republicans when they do this. But what's interesting is that Sununu felt the need to go public. Now, again, generally speaking, you don't do this. But to go public. Oh, I'm much better. Okay. Anyway, to go public means he's worried. Now, I do want to respond to one thing. Jigsaw goes, are you better off now than in 2019? Why are you picking 2019? Donald Trump was president until January of 2021. Why don't we say, are you better off now than 2021? I'm better off now because in January 2021, 2 people I knew died of COVID because Trump ignored it. In January 2021, my stocks were through the floor. My portfolio lost 40% my portfolio lost of my retirement. Yeah. So, back then, Trump was pushing racism. Trump was coddling Nazis. Trump said that neo-Nazis were very fine people, right? So, let's compare how we're doing today. Our economy was through the floor, right? Our economy was through the floor. Economic growth was going down even, right? Under Trump. So, let's talk about how I'm doing today versus back. Back then, by the way, when Trump was president, you couldn't buy toilet paper. There was no toilet paper. America had a shortage of toilet paper. I went to the store and I couldn't buy bleach under Trump because we had a shortage of bleach. Thank you, Hakan. Thank you, Wolford, right? So, everybody's portfolio went down under Trump. And guess what happened? Under Biden, the stock market is now at an all-time high. So I am happy. If Trumpers want to do this, you're making a mistake. If you want to say, frankly, Democrats ought to say, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? That's a Ronald Reagan line, actually. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Well, my 2 friends who died of COVID aren't better off. One was a relative. One was a friend in New York, a Greek girl. They're dead. Thank you, Wolford. So they're not better off. Thank you, Mike. The economy wasn't better off 4 years ago. It's way higher now. By the way, even if you don't count COVID, the economy is now better than it was under Trump. The stock market is at its highest level ever. Okay. So take COVID out of the picture. Trump's stock market wasn't as high as Biden's stock market. Economic growth, higher under Biden than under any of Trump's years. Under Trump, the deficit increased more, far more than any president in history, actually, and far more than Biden. Oh, let's take out COVID. Let's only count 3 years of Trump's presidency before COVID even occurred. He spent far more than Joe Biden, trillions more than Joe Biden, who in 4 years, okay, in 4 years, Joe Biden spent less than Donald Trump spent in 3 years. So on every metric, you want to ask, are we better off now than we were 4 years ago? Damn straight we are. Damn straight we are. My retirement's doing better. My economy's doing better. I'm doing better. I've got more civil rights. I've got more civil liberties. My president isn't friends with Nazis. My president doesn't have dinner with literal neo-Nazis. He literally invited a neo-Nazi white supremacist to Mar-a-Lago to have dinner with him. Okay? Nick Fuentes. So yeah, let's talk about all the different ways that America is better off now than 4 years ago. But I love it. But again, this is part of the lies of the Trump team. They think, and unfortunately, a lot of Trump voters are low information voters, as we call them, where basically they don't care about the truth. So they don't care to look it up. There was a survey of this, actually. Thank you, Nicolay. A bunch of Trump people were interviewed, and basically they all thought, oh yeah, the economy is doing very bad this year. The economy isn't even growing. Yeah, the economy is growing like, again, greater than it was during the Trump years, right? But they think the economy is not growing. The stock market, they think the stock market's down this year. The stock market, as I said, literally the polls show people think the stock market's down this year. It's at its highest level ever. It's actually up. It grew a lot this year. But unfortunately in America, a lot of our voters are not very bright. I'm sorry, but they're not. They don't do the research. This is a problem I have with the internet all the time. Inflation is not terrible either. Inflation's down to 3% now. So inflation is doing fine as well, Brett. That's what I mean. That's the kind of disinformation that people are willing to believe. Inflation is not terrible at all. So yeah, again, Trump voters aren't going to care. It's a cult. You know, they're going to keep going with what they go. But the facts matter. Anyway, all right, a little bit more. Maybe not anything more. Oh, a little bit of Ukraine news. There's only a little bit of Ukraine news I was telling you guys. Inflation is not horrid. Inflation's gone to 3%. Prices went up after COVID. They went up around the world after COVID because COVID was so bad it screwed up the world's economy. And here's the problem for Trumpers. And by the way, Biden's an idiot. Biden's an idiot. The Republicans literally said, people did it on the show right now. You can't talk about the economy under COVID. That's not fair. You can't criticize Trump for the economy collapsing under COVID. Then why can you criticize Joe Biden for inflation taking off because of COVID, right? Biden's responsible for COVID inflation, but Trump isn't responsible for COVID economic collapse? How's that work? And my stocks losing 40% of their value? My retirement? Right? Either they're responsible for COVID's impact on the economy or they're not. Which one is it? Which one is it? Right? You can't decide. And like I said, inflation's down to 3% now. So, all right. A little bit of Ukraine news. Day 888 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation. The first batch of F-16 fighters has received in Ukraine from the Netherlands. We found out today the number of planes is 6 that have arrived already there. 6 F-16s have arrived. More are coming. 6 is nice. They need more. Thank you, running. Please keep the gifts coming, guys. But that's good. There are widespread YouTube outages in Russia. Basically, the Russian government wanted YouTube to, stop. Thank you, running. Stop putting up videos saying bad things about Russia, such as what's actually happening in the war in Ukraine. Thank you, Lord Flash. Oh, thank you, Dawn. Fighter jet. Dawn's always cute. She buys gifts that reflect the stories we're talking about. That was very. She bought a fighter jet gift, a very nice one, by the way, too. That was sweet of you. Thank you. Sorry, a couple other people here. Running on Coffee, Lord Flash, Hades, Renegade, Marsha, and Family Lavery, and Pam. Thank you. Widespread YouTube outages in Russia now because the Russian government has banned YouTube because YouTube wouldn't take all the videos off the air that are basically telling the truth about the war in Ukraine. Russia's a dictatorship. Putin's a dictator. That's the way it works. So far, the planes came from the Netherlands. These are the planes from the Netherlands. There are more coming. There's about 60 planes total so far that have been promised. These are only 6. What worries me is, when are we going to get more of this? And by the way, Vote Blue says something Russia claimed something today in the war. The Russians lie as much as, I was going to say about. They don't lie about. They lie as much as Donald Trump lies. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Marsha. Literally anything Donald Trump claims, you need to fact check yourself before you believe it or repeat it. Thank you, Blue Sky. Anything the Russians claim, you need to fact check it or before you even vaguely repeat it. So yes, thank you, Letitia. Don't believe the Russians. They lie. Remember the Russians claimed they blew up a bunch of Patriot missile batteries and they blew up a bunch of, they've literally lied about everything in the war. Don't believe them. So yeah, until it's confirmed by an independent source, you should believe nothing the Russians claim. This is why I also don't repeat the Russian lies about how they're doing in the war, because they just lie about everything. You can't really repeat like, oh, we took a city in the East. Maybe, except that they're pathological liars. I mean, that is what the government is a dictatorship. Thank you, Trash Panda. Trash Panda, that's cute. Thank you, Running. Thank you, Trash Panda again. Tyrians, beep, 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 and Tammy for the gifts. A little bit more here. Romania discovered more drone debris on its territory from Russia. Very bad. Thank you, Family Lavery. And Georgia's foreign agent law is coming into effect by September 1st. Thank you, Danon. The foreign agent law is basically the country of Georgia, former Soviet, adopted a Putin-era law that is meant to squash democracy in Russia, any kind of democratic efforts, and it's meant to squash democracy in the country of Georgia, where they're requiring any nonprofit, any charity that takes money from abroad, more than a certain amount, like 20%, has to register with the government and declare themselves as a foreign agent, as a foreign spy, if they accept more than 20% of their money from abroad. Now, why would, thank you, Blue Sky, for subscribing. Why would a women's group or a gay rights group, LGBT rights group, or a pro-democracy group, or a media rights group? Because if you think of these countries, these are nascent democracies. They're not really full democracies yet. They need groups. Actually, even in our country, right? We need groups pushing for women's rights, right? We still have people that say women in violent relationships should remain in violent relationships, like the current guy who wants to be vice president, J.D. Vance. So, right. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Ruby. I think those are gifts from other people. Thank you, guys. And some other folks are asking for gifts if anybody can help. Thank you, Jigsaw. Oh yeah, so you've got these organizations that are basically pro-democracy. And again, country, I don't even need to explain. In Russia, you can understand why there's pro-democracy groups in Russia. It's a dictatorship. So if they take more than 20% of their money from abroad, and by the way, they're in poor countries. In Russia, where are you going to get money, right? The Russian people, it's a very blue-collar country, a lot poorer than we are here. If you're in Georgia, it's a small country. Where are you going to get the money to run an organization that's in favor of a vibrant, independent media, right? You can't get the money. That's why they have to go abroad to get the funds, because they're literally, the countries are too small. They're making them register as foreign spies in order to make it so that they people don't want to associate with them. B, it discredits what they say. Well, if you have to declare you're a foreign spy every time you issue a statement critical of the government on democracy, the public's going to say, well, you just admitted you're a foreign spy. Why should I believe what you're saying, right? So very interesting. Very interesting. In any case, so the Georgians, unfortunately, are putting their law, their Putin-era law, Putin came up with the law, in effect September 1st to basically start to clamp down on the democracy in Georgia, just like the Russians do. Again, horrible dictatorship. Horrible dictatorship. All right. That's it for the show. Let's hang out and talk. I say that's the part of the show where I give you the news, but we've been talking back and forth as well. Let's do questions and answers and everything else. Howdy, C. Murph. Kamala Harris has not selected her VP yet, Sword. She is going to be selecting them by probably Monday. Now, yes, Syndicate was saying Shapiro. I saw earlier Syndicate had said that it looks like Shapiro canceled some events he was doing this weekend. He is the current governor of Pennsylvania. That could be a sign that he got the word, or that he got the word that he's on the short list. That they might have even said, okay, kind of maybe keep quiet this weekend or whatever, right? Was that what you were trying to remind me of? I think you were. I don't know who should be her choice, Kamala Harris as vice president. I have to say, I'm really not as up on the sort of governors. Okay. I mean, there's, again, the ones on the short list for real. Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania. And this is the real short list, I think. Andy Beshear, governor of Kentucky. Very well-spoken guy. Less important state, though, right? Not as important of a state. Thank you, Susan Reyes, for subscribing, or whoever got you the gift. Pennsylvania, hugely important state. Arizona, hugely important state, but much fewer votes than Pennsylvania has. Pennsylvania is more important. Arizona, important. That's why you've got the Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona who's on the short list. So I think the three people on the short list are Kelly of Arizona, Shapiro of Pennsylvania, and Beshear of Kentucky. And even Beshear, he speaks well, but his state doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's not important in terms of size-wise, but somebody who speaks incredibly well could be very useful. The other people, I don't think it's real. Pete Buttigieg, Transportation Secretary, she says he's on the short list. I think she's doing that to be smart. He's great. I think she's doing it because she's trying to basically curry favor with Pete Buttigieg's fans. As I've said before, there is no way Democrats are going to have a black woman and a gay man as their presidential candidates. It's too diverse for America. It is. We've never had a woman president, guys, ever. We had one black president. Finally, we elected him twice, which was shocking, frankly. I'm glad, but I didn't think it would happen. There is no way Democrats can pick a gay man in addition to a black woman. It's too diverse. Voters will hate it. I'm just telling you, they will hate it. I hate to say it, but I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you the truth, not what I want. Pete is great. I think he should be president. So he certainly should be vice president, but it would be the wrong choice for that reason. Unfortunate. I hate to say it, but it's unfortunate. It's not going to be a woman because she can't have two women on the ticket. The governor of Minnesota? Who cares? I mean, I just feel like who cares? I mean, I love you, Minnesota, but it's not like Minnesota is one of the key battleground states, right? I think it's one of the three guys. Pete's ridiculously good. He would be, the thing is, Pete Buttigieg would be insane in every public speech he gave. He is Obama-esque in the way he speaks. Clinton-esque as well. He really is a combination of Clinton and Barack Obama in terms of the intelligence and the knowledge of policy and just like a brainiac. Obama was smart. He wasn't Bill Clinton was a brainiac, scary smart. I had a meeting with Bill Clinton and a number of bloggers once for 2 hours. Oh my God. The man's intelligence and knowledge of issues was scary. Buttigieg is the same. Buttigieg also has Obama's pathos, the Obama's like soul when he speaks. Oh my God. Anyway, he'd be amazing, but yeah, you're not going to get it. North Carolina governor already pulled out Ketchum, or QT Kem, maybe. He already announced a couple days ago that he was pulling himself out of the race for vice president. Possibly they found something about him, I think. Possibly the campaign might have told him, look, you were on our short list, but we're not going to pick you. Rather than us not pick you, would you like to pull out? So I don't know. It's hard to know what, but he's not on the list anymore. Anyway, but Shapiro, I will tell you, interesting question about Shapiro now. A number of very irrelevant progressives, and this is an important point. There was an article in The Hill, which used to be a very good publication here in Washington. Now it's not anymore. Did Mike have I did see Mike. Sorry. Let me see this really quick. There has been, and I think this is really scary, there's been discussion on whether progressives, which is now the left wing of the Democratic Party, it's actually become a very left wing. It's not just left. I used to be a progressive. It's a sort of very left wing. I am not these guys. They're extreme liberals, that they will not accept a Jewish vice president because of Israel and this kind of bullshit. This goes two ways. One, Kamala Harris will certainly be worried about pissing off progressives. Having said that, if she doesn't pick the Jewish guy from Pennsylvania, Republicans are going to say you turned him down because he's Jewish. And that is going to be horrific for Kamala Harris. So there's a very interesting thing going on right now with him, right? Very interesting thing going on. And I will say, in any case, we'll see. So we'll see what happens. Mark Kelly, people aren't really talking about him, which is kind of interesting. And yes, user 146, Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, called Netanyahu one of the worst leaders in the world. He's with me on Israel. Like, I very much support Israel, but Netanyahu's an idiot. And he said the same thing. Absolutely. Anyway, Pritzker, yeah, I just don't know if Illinois matters. Who knows? No one's talking about the House. I keep meaning to look into the House and Senate races. I haven't even looked in, to be honest. You're right, because no one's talking about the House and Senate, which is hugely important. Hugely important. But no one's talking about it. At least before Biden dropped out. Okay, 6 months, a year ago, the thinking was, sorry, Mike, I'll get to your question now. The thinking was that Democrats would lose the Senate to Republicans, but Democrats would get the House away from Republican control. So instead of the House running the House, Republicans running the House and Democrats running the Senate, it would switch. Then Biden went down to the polls and it looked like maybe Democrats would lose both. I haven't seen anything now. The Biden thing is certainly going to help. Biden stepping down. Mike, I'm sorry, Mike. Oh, I'm calling you Mike, Milk Wizard. Without my glasses, it looks like milk. Mike, if Trump loses, do you think it will be the end of the MAGA coalition in the Republican Party? I was talking with some neighbors about this yesterday. They think possibly. I'm not convinced. Trump isn't, going away, right? If Trump loses, he's going to be an even bigger jerk. He's going to lie about the election again. His lemming cult member voters are going to believe him. If anything, I worry Trump loses and literally they go violent and they go crazy. Trump is just not going to lose and become a normal person, right? And say, oh, okay, we lost. Democracy's good. No, he's going to lose and say democracy's bad. I'm not a loser. I won. They cheated me again. I mean, Donald Trump's like literally the guy who loses every time. He goes, see, the proof that the fact that I keep losing shows I'm a winner. Like, no, dude, it's not. There will be pressure in the Republican Party if Trump loses again. There will be pressure, and especially, by the way, if Trump loses the White House and Republicans lose the House and Senate, they don't take back, which they're supposed to, and the House, they lose. That is going to put great pressure on the Republicans to get rid of Trump and MAGA. But he's too big of a... Now, my neighbors think it'll happen. I think Trump is going to hold a gun to the head of the Republican Party and say, if you try to push me out, I'm going to have my minions go crazy. My voters are violent. Because he scares Republican politicians now already, because his voters are literally, again, they tried to violently overthrow the government. Trump's people are scary. They're violent. They don't believe in American democracy. These are not the kind of people you want to piss off, right? Not the kind of people. I fear that Republicans are going to say, of course, Trump needs to go. We hate him. He's a loser. He's making us lose elections, but we don't want him to kill us, literally. So we're going to keep supporting him, right? That's what's going to happen. So I'm not convinced. I think when Trump dies someday, maybe the Republicans will move on. I'm not convinced. Maybe, but I'm not convinced. Anyway. So what else? We got a lot of trolls today. You guys upset that Donald Trump didn't make as much money last month as Kamala Harris made in a week? Trump, since we got trolls, 139 million Trump pulled in last month in 4 weeks. Kamala Harris pulled in 200 million in 1 week. Ha! Thank you, Maddie. What else we got here? One of his kids, probably the idiot. Right. It'll probably be like Don Jr. thinks a lot of him. He's not a bright guy. He seems to have some issues. He often sounds like he's drunk 20 cans of Coca-Cola, like there's something going on there. Very scary. If I could see Don Jr. running for office next, thinking, thank you, Nicola, thinking he's going to be the next, the next American politician. I think maybe he'll win in a Republican state, like for Senate. He might pull that off. I think it's going to be incredibly embarrassing for Republicans because Donald Trump Jr. is kind of an idiot. I mean, he's not a smart guy. He's an internet troll. Excuse me. He's an internet troll. He's just this kind of angry guy. The way he talks like his father, but even worse. Like he's got a horrible accent. And like I said, he gets into these spells late at night and does videos that he literally sounds like he's just drunk 30 cans of Coca-Cola. I am not going to be one of these people who guesses as to why he is suddenly hyper beyond belief, and it happens a lot, but it's not like I speak fast anyway. I always speak fast. He only speaks fast like late at night when he does these videos at home and kind of talks like this. It's a little creepy. I do not think that is going to go over well with American voters. So but he's not going to go away. He's not going to go away. He's going to keep, and you know what? Good. You know, I don't know. Trolley says, who do I think is going to be the next president of the United States? I think it's a tie. It's a tie between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. I thought Biden was going to lose. But right now it's a tie. She's doing extremely well. She has jumped in the polls. Her popularity has gone up. Trump's is flat. Trump should have gone up when he got shot at. Trump should have gone up after his convention. It didn't. Typically, when a party holds a political convention, they get a 6-point jump in the polls, like 6 percentage point increase. They didn't. She did get the increase just from Joe Biden losing the race. What will be interesting with her, though, Republicans are very good at painting Democrats in a bad way, right? Donald Trump is a prolific and proficient liar. He's very good at lying. He's claiming Kamala Harris isn't even a black woman. I mean, he's very good at lying. And the question is, will Trump be able to paint Kamala Harris as a monster before Kamala Harris is able to paint herself in a real light with the voters? And which one will voters believe and like? I don't know. You know, I mean, I really don't know. But I was worried Biden couldn't win this. She can absolutely win this. Yes. And right now she might even be, hey, Daniel, I keep forgetting that's your name. I remember you now. Hey, right now she's winning, I think, because of the momentum, because of how much money she's pulling in, the enthusiasm, because the Trump people still can't find an argument to use against her. That's why yesterday they said she was Indian, and today they say she's Canadian. They made fun of her laugh. They just don't know what to. Also, Trump is lying now. Trump literally, he can't even hit her with the truth. He claimed the other day, she wants to get rid of the child tax credit. Kamala Harris literally spoke out in favor of the child tax credit a couple months ago. When it became law, she publicly issued a statement saying, thank God, but she criticized that the child tax credit wasn't bigger. In other words, a tax credit that families get that have children. She wanted the tax credit to be bigger. Trump came out and claimed multiple times this last week, she wanted to kill the child tax credit. So he's going to keep lying. It's what he does. He's a pathological liar. Nothing he says is true. Even his age and his weight, nothing he says is true. The question is, will voters believe him or will they believe her? Will they like her or will they not like her? I don't know. But Trump is flailing, trying to find something to stick against her. And the other thing is, in the end, Trump has not told us much about what Trump's going to do. He's told us a lot about why, she's bad or Biden's bad or whatever. In the end, you do need, and again, Democrats also talk about how horrible human being Trump is. But in the end, you need to sort of sell the voters on what you're going to do. Democrats need to do that better. Kamala Harris needs to do that better, but also Trump needs to do that better too. Denise says she donated for the first time. Yep. A lot of people did. Yeah. Trump's interview. Trump went to the National Association of Black Journalists yesterday, and for whatever crazy reason thought this was a good idea. And this is the one that he went and claimed Kamala Harris isn't really black. Again, he told a bunch of black people that he, as a white guy, had the real truth on whether a woman who's been black her entire life is really black. Well, you can imagine the black audience wasn't very thrilled at the white guy coming in and white-splaining who is and isn't black when the woman's father is black from Jamaica, and she went to a black college, and she was a black sorority member, and her resume is always everything about her. When she ran for office, she was black. If anything, and the irony is, Kamala Harris was actually criticized by the Asian community in California like 14 years ago, whatever, because she didn't talk enough about being Asian, because she's half Asian too. She's half South Asian or Southeast Asian, Indian. She's half Indian and she's half black, half Jamaican, half Indian. And The Asians actually got pissed because Kamala Harris traditionally doesn't talk a lot about being Asian. She's always talked about being black. So again, this is what Republicans do. This is what Republicans do. You know, it's again, or MAGA Republicans, certainly they lie. They lie. What do you do? You know? So yeah, but I just love it when white, and again, I mean, Trump especially, right? I mean, but I love this. Donald Trump thinks if you're half black, you're not really black. Donald Trump thinks if you have one drop of black blood in you, you're black and probably going to rob him, right? If you have 1 ounce of black blood in you, Donald Trump's going to think you're black. I guarantee you. So the notion that Donald Trump thinks she's not black enough, she's only half black. Are you kidding me? Right? No American looks at Kamala Harris and thinks she's not black. By the way, President Obama was half black and half white. And I love when people would tell me Obama's not really black. And I was like, dude, I'm a white guy. I'm actually an expert on being white, right? There is no white person in America that looks at Barack Obama and goes, there's a fine white man. Literally, they would tell me he's white. And I was like, nobody looks at Barack Obama and says, that's a white guy. And white people especially did not look at Barack Obama and go, he's one of us. No, he was black. He was one of us as American, right? He was a good American. But to say he was like my kindred race, no, he wasn't. Barack Obama was a black man. It's ridiculous. Her dad was not Hindu. See, these are all the lies. Her dad was a Jamaican of African origin. I challenge everybody out there to go check it out, okay? Everybody out there, go check it out. Go check it out. Kamala Harris's father was a black guy of African origin from Jamaica. And by the way, this is the first time I've ever heard that like Jamaicans aren't black either. Like, who's going to be next? Haitians? Like, I mean, guys, they lie about everything. They lie about everything. He was a Jamaican of African origin, as black can be. They're racist and they lie about everything. And by the way, this is also the reason they do this. They throw this stuff out there because as you start discussing it, right? As we start debating whether she's black, they win. Well, there was a really big debate on that, you know, that live about whether she was black or not. Maybe she's not. It was clearly a debate. People were divided, right? It's like the people were not divided. You had the people with the facts and then the liars, the lying racists who were trying to present something else, right? But that's the interesting thing, is the liars and the racists want to basically make it look like, again, COVID, right? I love that. This is like our Robert F. Kennedy Jr., these other idiots who don't believe in vaccines. They always say, why won't you debate us? They did this to this wonderful doctor who's on Twitter. We follow each other. I'm forgetting his name. The guy with the spectacles, kind of graying hair, kind of short, little big spectacles. He's really good. And he's really been involved in COVID policy and all of this. And the RFK people and the anti-vaxxers keep saying, why won't you debate him? Why won't you debate our anti-vax person? And he's like, why would I? You know, he's not Dr. Fauci. No, I know Dr. Fauci. Like I said, he's about 55 years old, short guy, little heavy. Fauci is not a short guy who's a little heavy. He's not, you know, I know his name. It'll come to me, but he refuses to debate the guy. Because he's like, why would I want to have a debate with somebody who doesn't believe in science, who is literally spouting conspiracy theories, right? Because all you do by debating them is people look and go, wow, well, actually one guy says this, the other says that. The liars want you to elevate them and give them credibility. They want you to put them on a debate stage. So it literally is, well, he said, she said, maybe, who knows who's right, you know? It's really, I mean, really sick. University professor. I always thought it'd be fun to teach at universities, but honestly now I feel like all the kids would be recording me and going, did you hear what he said? He talked about black people. He talked about God knows what, you know? I just think like, and the right is terrible, but the left honestly has gotten worse as far as universities. I mean, the right has always been kind of evil and, you know, recording professors and getting them into trouble, but even worse with the left now. I'd be terrified of these people. Like somebody wouldn't like me. Somebody on the left or right would hate me and they'd get me in trouble. Well, the students feel threatened in your class. I know you're not threatening them, but they feel. You got to acknowledge the way they feel. I do not acknowledge the way anybody feels. I mean, if you can prove it, sure, right? But the fact that again, I'm a lawyer and everything else. The fact that you feel something is not proof of the existence of the thing. You got to prove your case, and if you can't prove your case, maybe your feelings are wrong. You know. So I don't know who will win. Right now, it's a tie. Right now, it's a tie. Trump and she, Dr. Hotez. Thank you, Fabiana. You win. Dr. Hotez is the guy. What's his first name? It's not Eric, is it? Hotez. He's wonderful. He's absolutely wonderful. That's you. See, you knew who I meant. You know what? Spectacles, gray hair, short, little heavy, beard, a goatee. I think. Really, he did a lot of TV during COVID. Really good guy. But he's done that. Peter. That's it. Thank you, Amanda. Peter Hotez. Thank you, Chris. But yeah, they wanted him to debate the anti-vaxxers, and he was like, "No." He teaches in Texas? Oh, that's funny. Poor guy. Wow. That has to be scary. Unless you're in like Austin or something. That might be a little better. Anyway, yeah, very tropical medicine guy figures. Yeah, he's really smart on this stuff. Yeah, it's too hard, Gunther. And I can't do Twitch anyway, because if I were to do Twitch and try to show websites, I'm on YouTube and TikTok, it just gets to, when I was streaming, it was killing. The quality wasn't good enough when I was streaming. I was trying to stream with a service to YouTube and everything else, and the quality wasn't good enough. So unfortunately, so that's why I now do YouTube and TikTok, because the quality in TikTok is always good. And the quality on YouTube, now that I use my phone as the camera directly to YouTube, it's good quality. Yeah. In any case, I am on Instagram. It's my last name, same account that I've got on TikTok. Aravosis is my Instagram account. I need to post more pictures. I go in spurts and I stop, and I should do more. But yeah, guys, we've been going an hour and a half, maybe another question or comment or so, and then we can move on. Then I'll call it quits, because I did do the earlier show today too for the paid subscribers. I will do another one. Oh, hey, Taylor Swift challenge. I will do another show tomorrow for paid subscribers in the morning, late morning. We're trying to get 100,000 likes on TikTok. I think we will. We're at 98 or 96, maybe 96. I think we'll get to 100,000. But anyway, so yeah, anything else, guys, or what? Let me just look. Otherwise, I will say good night, but I'll wait on TikTok for us to get to 100. We're getting close. Tap that screen, get us to 100. Peter Hotez is white. Don't go there, Mike. Don't go there. Kamala should debate Trump. Absolutely. He's the presidential nominee. She is too. I haven't read a lot of books lately, to be honest. Because I feel like I do so. To me, books feel like homework. So I've not read a lot of books. I should, but I've not. I may get that Irma Bombeck book about Russia. That's got to be hilarious, about the Soviet Union. Absolutely hilarious. We're at 100,000. Woo-woo! 106,000. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Fair. But she should debate it. She has to debate him. He's the presidential candidate. And I think she'll do a good job debating him. It's good. She'll be good. So then again, Trump is also impossible to debate because he lies. He rambles on. He doesn't like that. So, which is also why Trump is trying to change the debate format for the next debate, because he knows he can't lie. They won't. Basically they cut him off. He only gets a certain amount of time. He didn't like that. All right, guys, I'm gonna go. It's been an hour and a half. Let's talk tomorrow. I will be doing a show for the paid subscribers late morning. We'll talk about the latest election news. Sasha wants water. I'm coming, honey. I'm coming. And I will do my regular show tomorrow night at 6:00 Eastern time, US. And then remember, Saturday morning is the show for paid subscribers, and Sunday morning is for the show for just $24.99 up paid subscribers. All right. And Arctic, I know we still got ours. You know what? All right, let's shoot for next weekend, because this weekend, since I'm doing both shows, it's kind of a pain. I'm sorry about that. Let's shoot for next weekend. Now, you kept canceling previously, but I've been the problem this time, just for the record. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Have a good night. All right. See you guys. Thank you. And thank you all.